Hello there. Oh, hello. Don't mind me. I was just on my phone trying to figure out if I had done a script for the show or not. You know, if you're watching this after the fact, you're going to go to 00:00, and you can jump right into story time, or by all means, hang out, watch me while I hang out with the fans who are here in real time. Good morning, Cobalt. Well, good evening. Good evening, Cobalt. Oh boy, I tell you what, it's been a hell of a day at sea, sir. Another hell of a day at sea. Technology is going to give me a heart attack at some point. I think it's pretty clear. I gotta calm down. I gotta calm down, man. I gotta calm down. What's up, Brian Leach? How you doing, brother? All right. Let me quit out of this because that's not working, and hopefully this comes up here. Dawn Shipley in the house. Hi, Dawn. How you doing? Always good to see you, Dawn. Always good to see you. Timothy Clark, representing Alaska, the northernmost of the junkies, ladies and gentlemen. The northernmost. Probably jumped on a little bit early, but that is the way it goes. Once again, if you are coming here after the live stream, you're going to want to jump to 00:00. Looks like we got a little bit of lag going. We'll see if we can get that taken care of. Of course, if you're on YouTube, click like right now, click that bell, and subscribe. All that other good shit. And if you're new from YouTube, then get on to business. Get on to business. He's going to bring me up a script. Brian, I did get some of the gremlins out. What it was is I had installed a plugin so that A could see her volume level, because I had connected a few things incorrectly on the audio side. I won't get into that right now, but it's a very simple mistake to make. So she was having trouble hearing how loud or quiet she was, and she didn't have a reference. So we put this visual up that she could see. Trouble is, the visual, the plugin, was the thing that was causing all of the looping and dragging the CPU down. And now that it's gone, we should be in pretty good shape. And we fixed the audio problem too. And she's getting much better on the mic. Always is. Richard Bennett, how you doing? Dawn is surviving. This moving stuff's going to kill us. Yeah, moving's just a pain in the ass. Scott Aiken, how are you, man? What's going on? Recluse Mage, volume seems a little low, huh? Yeah, you're probably right about that. Let's go and just bring that up. Bring that up overall right there. That's high. All right, thank you. This is the feedback I need, y'all. This is the feedback I need. I get no volume. I'll tell you, I get no respect. No respect at all. Okay, we're going to go fix this from this side. Okay, how's that? Well, that's a lot better. There we go. Ladies and James, how we doing? Does that work out well? Get back up here, and I can bring this. That level's normal. So that volume's looking a little bit better to me. Let's go check it out in Restream. No, OBS. We have to check out the OBS. Is that volume better, you guys? Now I'm going to bring that down here. Okay, so that is the overall volume output. Hi, Kim. Hello, everyone. It's always good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. Abby, how's it going? Good to see you. Wonder if that means Dr. DB is in the house as well. I didn't see. Richard Bennett says Body Scott. Don't know what that means. Volume's a little low on YouTube. All right, so I've upped the volume. How are we sounding now? Feed the algorithm, spank that button. Excellent. Kim says better. Is it as good as it usually is? Because we have new gear, which took up my whole weekend and most of today as well. Cobalt says, whoever's in this chat last week who was going to see AC/DC soon, you're in for an amazing show. Sunday at Gillette was amazing. Fabulous. Dr. Daniel Baker, PhD's in there. Rob Otto, the big 5-0. Rob, we are going to be talking about Deep Cuts episode 50. It's just kind of going to be a free-for-all. A's got a rough outline to talk about it. Okay, Edward Rocco, what's going on? So we have good volume. I definitely have volume in my ears. Dr. Campbell in the house. Hello, good doctor. How are you doing? Tony, hello. I think better. Good. If it's still struggling, though, I can bring that up. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. What is going on? A's coming over the script. Hi, sweetheart.
It'll get you to when I come back upstairs and people are saying your volume is a little...
We're working on that right now. Thank you. Thank you, honey. Okay, let's see where we're at. Volume is low. We can bring up the channel volume. This is a bit perplexing. Okay, now I've turned up the volume quite a bit. It is very loud. Now I have to turn the headphones down. So how is that? Let's go back to here. How does that sound, ladies and gentlemen? Why won't it get louder in the audio mixer? It's crazy. It's crazy. So tell me, is that volume? Volume is great on YouTube now. At this moment, starting at 5:30. Is this too loud? Is it loud enough? How are we doing? Give me a little feedback. I appreciate your help. Oh my God, Daryl Harris. Daryl Harris says, I had the chance to see the original AC/DC with Bon Scott, the greatest lead singer of all time. Daryl, I could not be more jealous. Also, Daryl, why'd you kill him? Why'd you kill Bon? Didn't need to be done. Goodness gracious. Steve Rickenberg, hello. Okay. So A and I got a new piece of gear, the Apollo X8. And I have this remote app that controls all aspects of the Apollo and the console software. I can do everything from the computer except for this one weird quirk will make you want to know more. That weird quirk is you can't change the headphone volume from anywhere but the actual piece of hardware itself. So while everything else is digital, all up on the screen, I can boop, 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 boop. I have to actually reach down between my legs and ease the volume back. She's running, I'm running. Oh, Angus, they are, Cobalt says AC/DC should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Buddy, they are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They are the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Definitely got a little bit of bit mapping going on. As long as the audio's okay, we can make everything else work. You guys are here to hear the mellifluent sound of my voice. And, you know, if you do get a freeze frame, you just got to be like, well, you get to look at all this. You get to look at all this, which ain't bad. That's not a bad thing to do. Okay. She's calling. Dude, Van Halen's another good band, by the way, you guys. You guys probably don't know that. Big Dentistry killed Bon Scott. Tony says, every once in a while it gets really loud and then goes back down. Okay, so I'm trying to think of what I can do about that. It does look like it's feeding in low overall. So the best thing we're going to be able to do, no and/or spoilers. No spoilers, you guys. The best thing we're going to be able to do today is you have to just manage the volume on your own goddamn time. Hide webcam panel, show webcam panel. Let's make sure we have everything set up. There, that should fix the bit mapping. That should be done. Now I got to go see if it's for A. Okay, we're good to go. We're good to go. Let's see. D79, Diamond Dave. That is Van Halen. Van Hagar, also an excellent, excellent band. Very good. Crypt Book 2, out the door, you guys. It is off to the publisher. No idea when that'll be out. I'm going to get hit with final line copy edits all at once. And we're going to get Crypt Book 2 copy edits, Warpath copy edits, and if all goes well, GFL 7 copy edits all coming to the door at the same time. Sunday, May 4th, the short story Rainy Day hits the podcast feed. And let's see, Wednesday, May 7th, Deep Cuts 49, Should Copyright Be Abolished, what is today? Why would that go live on a Wednesday? That should have gone live on May 6th. It should already be in the feed. I think it is, as a matter of fact. Sunday, May 11th. Tonight's episode, Cantrell and Cantrell hits the podcast feed. Tuesday, May 13th. Tonight's Deep Cuts 50 Deep Cuts and counting, goes live. And then Wednesday, May 17th, Slay episode 95. We will read that live. And Deep Cuts 51, which I believe will be hobbies of writers. But A will tell you more about that. And then, of course, let's go to main. Let's get the timer up. Boop. And boop, and go to main, and then we got to get to Junkie Party. That's right. June 10th. Looks like May 10th coming up is going to be the next Junkie Party. The Junkie Party after that should be June 7th. That's what we should be talking about. But you guys can go join Steve the Iceberg Rickenberg, who is in the chat room right now. And he holds a little bit of a junkie party. It should be a darn good time. He wants you to come hang out on Saturday. Usually it's the first Saturday of the month. This month, it is the second Saturday. All right, let's get ready to go. Let's get ready to rumble. Boop. Slay, what's going on? I will remember to take my headphones off this time. Cobalt says, I haven't had the time to see Kiss yet. I don't know where that sound is coming from. That's going to be annoying. So if we hear that boop, I'm just going to have to... Not sure where that's coming from. That is interesting. But if I hear that boop, I'll just retake that line. Let me take one quick peek. Nope, it was not that computer. We're going to let that shut itself down. Let's go back to opening screen, go from there. Of course, yes. Thank you, D79. YouTubers, like, subscribe, slap that bell. Brian Leach, I will press record. Let me just get this computer shut down again. Hopefully that does the trick. It is party time. Excellent. Let's go to main. All right, ladies and joims, we're going to dive right into this. The boop's on my side, man. I don't know where it's coming from, but it is problematic. Okay, let's get this. My big bald head is up too far. That's a little too bright. We'll adjust that when A comes in. When the eye candy comes in, we'll take care of everything. There we go. All right. All right, here we go. Back on that sleigh tip. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Making sure I have audio. I do have audio. Previously on Sleigh. Lincoln needs to acquire assets for the great caper of stealing a piece of Callista's soul. But before he and the Old Stone Church crew assembled the pieces of that puzzle, Aunty Juanita told him that his bounty hunting days were over. And she tasked him with sharing that information with another legendary bounty hunter. Speaking of bounty hunters, a third one, Icepick, is obsessed with his mission of finding Dante Oganov for the secretive and powerful mage Vestinian, who wants Oganov and Billy Middleton dead as doornails. Icepick takes a little trip to track down a clue. Where is he going? Find out next on Sleigh, episode 94. Too much to do, too little time. Which meant Lincoln had swallowed a bitter pill. Delegating tasks. It wasn't that he didn't delegate. He did. In particular, all the stuff that didn't involve punching various things in various mouths. Taxes, grocery shopping, business plans, cleaning the bathroom. Delegate to others. Fighting, though, or training to fight, that was his job. And yet here he was, knocking out a task delegated to him by one person while on his way to do a task delegated by a second person. 2 weeks until Lincoln and the crew paid a visit to Alnwick Castle. A lot of ducks to be put in a lot of rows before then. He parked his Volt Lacama bike on the street outside the bar. He didn't want to be seen here, at least not from passing cars and the shady-ass pedestrians and drunks in this part of Kendrick Heights. So, he disguised his prized ride as a 1982 Honda CM450E. He used to call the dented overlay his, quote, rolling dumpster, end quote, but that was before the Cybertruck came out. While thieves might go to great lengths to snag a Lacama, they weren't as motivated to grab a 30-year-old beater. Lincoln set his meshwork alarm to zap the living hell out of anyone who touched the bike, especially the hard boxes that held his armor and cloak. The boxes now looked so rusted you could get tetanus just looking at them. Anywhere but in the Old Stone Church, he felt naked and exposed when he wore street clothes, like he was wearing now, even with the Ruger LCR 38 he carried in a back holster and the karambit knife hidden inside his jeans in a front sheath. Decent weapons, but not in the same league as Tizona, his sword, Bastard Maker, his bearded axe, as his F1 crossbow, and as his M&P 12 series shotgun. With a whistle, though, he could summon the bike and quickly get at it. With a whistle, though, he could summon the bike. With a whistle, though, he could summon the bike and quickly get at those more high-power... Darn. With the whistle, though, he could summon the bike and quickly get at that more high-powered gear, so it wasn't all bad. And, hopefully, he could deliver his news, then quickly GTFO. Lincoln walked into Stooley's Bar and Grill. The place was half full, and half the patrons were monsters with crappy overlays Lincoln saw through without even trying. A horse-headed Tikbalang wearing a mailman's uniform at a table with a fat Dakabi demon who looked like he'd finished a long day's work painting houses. A corner table with 2 reptoids, chicks by the looks of the scanty outfits that covered their 300-plus pound scaly green skin, and 3 bone-thin, gray-skinned, big-eyed reticulans, who together didn't outweigh one of the reptoid ladies. And damn it, looked like bowling league had just let out. Lincoln's old pals, Penelope, the chubby orc with a blue mohawk, Big Bone, a surly kobold who always had a gun or a blade stashed away, and Booty Shooty, the wolfman who didn't like being kicked in the nards. They all wore their orange and purple bowling shirts. No sign of Lupo, their demon-horned pal. Maybe he was in the shitter. Maybe they wouldn't notice Lincoln. 2 more at the bar Lincoln recognized. Crisanto, the dock-worker merman who drank like several fishes at once, and the person Lincoln had come to see. The bartender, Lincoln recognized her, too. She saw him. Her black wings unfurled a bit, tucked tight behind her back. Damn, did she look good. Leather halter top, bar rag over her shoulder, jeans that strangulated her waist with a flat metal bottle opener sticking out of her back pocket, calling even more attention to her ample curves. Her long black locks were gone, replaced by a rockabilly bob with a purple streak. "Hey, Lincoln," Maylene said. Well, shit. The bowling team's conversation dropped. They looked Lincoln's way, eyes full of hate. Booty Shooty stood, his chair scraping against the beer-stained floor. Penelope reached under the table where her bowling bag sat. The man Lincoln had come to see spoke in a voice that was low, yet heard by all. "Sit the fuck down, Jojo the dog-faced boy," finished the job Johnson said. "Enjoy your drink and the camaraderie of your friends. And Chunky Butt the Orc, that bowling ball rises above the table, it's going straight up your ass." Booty Shooty sat down. Penelope let go of her bag. The table stared at their drinks. Lincoln faced the bar again. "It's been a while," Maylene said. "Where you been?" It wasn't a warm welcome. The real message was the tone of her voice, which spoke volumes. Don't start shit again and fuck up my bar. "Got a group of new pals," Lincoln said. "Heading to see 'em right after I'm done here." Maylene nodded. "You want a drink?" Yes, he did want a drink. But going to his grope meeting... He's not going to a grope meeting. That's a whole different show. Yes, he did want a drink. But going to his group meeting with booze on his breath wouldn't exactly be a good look. "Thanks, but no." Lincoln tilted his head toward Finish the Job Johnson. "I came to see him." Maylene's face creased with anger. She raised a warning finger. "Lincoln, if you start with my bouncer, I'll..." "It's cool, babe," FTJJ said. "Let the man say his piece. Give us some privacy." Hold on, you guys. My noise on my watch was on. Here we go. Maylene's wings ruffled again. She grabbed her bar towel like it owed her rent. She moved away, wiping the bar top. Gotta warn you, FTJJ said. If you came to call me out, I'm gonna snap you like a dry Triscuit. This asshole. A Triscuit? Really? Of all the cocky, arrogant... Lincoln calmed himself. He wasn't here to scrap. Sam came first. I'm not calling you out, Lincoln said. I am here at the request of the Clostator. She couldn't find you. Finish the job Johnson didn't bother with an overlay. He wore his dark tan robes, had his 5-foot galvanized pipe leaned against the bar next to him. Looked like new hair sticks in his man bun. Black enamel with gold dragons on them. Probably a gift from Maylene. People don't find me, he said. I find them. Well, I found you. The man smiled, revealing his gold teeth with the letters FTJJ in diamonds spread across his incisors and front teeth. You want a cookie? Or a people locator merit badge to wear on your brownie sash? This asshole. Lincoln forced down his annoyance. The Clostator told me bounty hunting is coming to an end, Lincoln said. Bastion's going to shut it down soon. She wanted you to know. FTJJ shrugged. Now I know. He faced the bar. Your messenger duty's done, errand boy. Now, hop on along, little bunny foo-foo, unless you want to step outside and settle the question of who's the baddest motherfucker in the business. Seems like there's still some debate, which is weird, since I fucking whooped your ass twice. Like cotton on a spindle, Lincoln's annoyance spun into a simmering heat in the chest Like cotton on a spindle, Lincoln's annoyance spun into that simmering in the chest, pre-brawl percolation he loved more than he loved cheap whiskey. Who was the baddest? Lincoln wanted to find out. He wanted to find out bad. You sucker punched me the first time, he said. And the second time, I was drunk. Finish the job, Johnson nodded. Yeah, but you're not drunk now, right? Lincoln was, in fact, as annoyingly sober as he had ever been. But this wasn't the time for a pissing match. Sam came first. Another time, FTJJ. Johnson nodded again. You bet. Looking forward to it. Maybe for round 3, we play for keeps. A duel to the death. The ultimate test. FTJJ had been a monk in the Bastion, a master physical combatant, and a powerful mage to boot. As dangerous gets. But Lincoln knew he could take the man. Another time. Lincoln turned and walked out of Stooley's. He was late for the meeting, a meeting after which he had an important offer to make. Cordis. Great city. If you were into Great city. If you were into hermaphants, which Icepick was. Sometimes you wanted one flavor, sometimes the other. Or flavors you had never experienced before. Or flavors no one had experienced before. Those shape-shifting courtesans got the job done. Icepick liked to kick around the tavern scene in Tenochtitlan Commons and Nordheim Row neighborhoods, mostly. He loved the food in the Umayyad district and Yamato Park. The Babylon Quarter was his favorite, of course, as that's where the Hermafont houses operated. As for Olmecville, he didn't know that area well. Not as well-to-do as the Hellenica Ward or, of course, New Zungar, but not as sketchy as Favela Land or the Gull Patch. Olmecville had ziggurats and earthen mounds, Big big basalt heads all over the place. Seemed like a good neighborhood to run a business. A business like a law firm. He found the address he was looking for. An office on the ground floor of a mixed-use ziggurat. A simple white door. At eye level, painted in gold letters with black trim, Cantrell and Cantrell. Below the names, the words, Certified Patchwork Counselors. Icepick knocked. From inside, he heard a chair roll back from a desk. The door opened. There stood a man in a plaid suit, suede patches on the elbows and everything. Thin blonde hair combed down to cover, or try to cover, a receding hairline. "Hello," the man said. "Can I help you?" Icepick smiled. "Dylan Cantrell, I presume? I'm looking for legal representation. I have a contractual matter I need addressed." The man grinned that looks like new business grin. "Wow," he said. "Maybe we can help. What kind of contract?" He hadn't immediately said, "Come on in." A cautious man. "Bounty hunting. The name is Icepick." The man's smile faded. "Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I already have a bounty hunter client. Taking on another would constitute a conflict of interest. I'm sure you understand. Would you like recommendations for other firms?" Icepick put one hand on the open door, not to push it open, but rather to make it clear the door would not be shut without his allowing it. "Let's step inside," Icepick said. "I'd like a word." Cantrell looked at the hand on the door, perhaps wishing that hand would vanish. Or perhaps wishing he had the strength to shut it. He looked out into the street, at the colorful pedestrian traffic, the horses, the carts. "Your office seems more comfortable." A flick of Icepick's free hand produced a 6-inch stiletto. "More comfortable than the street, I mean." He twirled the stiletto between his fingers, a blur of silently spinning metal. "Or we could chat in that dark alley to my left, all the way in the back. Shall I assist you there, Dylan?" He heard the skinny man swallow. "Mr. Pick, do you know who my bounty hunting client is?" "I do. The man in gray himself. And I go by Icepick. One word. No first, no last. Let's talk, Dylan." Cantrell waited some. He'd probably hoped mentioning Frank's would send his visitor running. Then the man stepped back and opened the door. Icepick walked inside. 3 desks. Small place. 3 desks. 2 neat as a pin, 1 stacked with papers, a copy of Baphomet's big binder of bounties, and a messenger bag dotted with brightly colored enamel pins. Star Wars and Star Trek emblems. Nerd tribal symbols. Fitting. Icepick sat on the edge of a clean desk, gestured to the chair in front of the messy one. "Have a seat, Dylan." Cantrell shut the office door and did as he was told. He moved slow enough to show he understood the situation. To show he wasn't trying anything. Smart. "Cantrell and Cantrell," Icepick said. "Which one are you? Number 1 or number 2? The nerdy man forced a smile at the thinly veiled insult. "Number 3, actually," he said. "My parents are the partners in the firm. Someday, I hope to make it Cantrell and Cantrell and Cantrell." so he didn't mind being one among the crowd. That was fine. Not everyone could have a cool name like Icepick or Finish the Job Johnson. Mr. Icepick, how can I help you? Just Icepick. Don't call me Mister. I work for a living. Dylan Cantrell nodded slowly. Icepick flicked the spinning stiletto from one hand to the other, caught it, and kept it moving at exactly the same pace. Knuckle to knuckle, finger to finger, and back again. Where are your parents, Dylan? They're on vacation. Ah, I see. They trust you enough to run the shop all by yourself. I suppose that's a family business for you. Cantrell nodded again. He knew he was in trouble. Good. That usually made things go easier. This isn't my first visit to your fine establishment, Icepick said. Seems your firm is closed more often than it's open. You've been elsewhere. You spend a lot of time in Lumencia, Dylan? The man swallowed again. Sounded a bit like a pebble dropped into a puddle. I have business in Lumencia, he said. Icepick flicked his fingers. The stiletto vanished as if it had never existed at all. Yes, of course. The man in gray, I presume. You know, I saw him the other day. Him and that apprentice of his. Walt is his name. And that smelly dog of theirs. Do you know where I saw them, Dylan? Cantrell said nothing. Icepick wondered if the man might piss himself. I saw them beneath the Bendelson Bridge. I was there to pursue a contract. A contract you posted, Dylan, to clean up a pack of Lagroons. Something about that bounty seemed off to me. Lagroons in Lumencia. Odd, don't you think? But the money was good, so I went. Sadly for me, Franks and Walt got there just before I did. Being the gentleman that I am, I allowed them to stake their claim. Very professional of you, Cantrell said. Thank you. I pride myself on respecting the trade and others who practice it. Here's the thing that confuses me, Dylan. You didn't pay Franks. The bounty is marked as closed, not completed. Why is that? Cantrell straightened in his chair. That's none of your concern, Icepick. Contractee, contract or privilege. Well, how about that? Cantrell was intimidated, obviously, but he still had backbone. Icepick liked that. You're right, Dylan. I feel bad for having asked at all. Icepick, your implied threats to entice my cooperation are duly noted, Cantrell said. Cantrell and Cantrell employ cockeyes and other monitoring devices to protect our establishment. We've had some threats in the past, you see. Well, what I mean to say is, there are eyes on this office right now. If you have a point to make, please make it, and then be on your way. Not just a backbone, some real steel in the man. Icepick liked that even more. Cantrell was hard to read. Icepick was good at seeing the truth. He knew some could smell lies, others could taste them, although that got a little gross. Icepick could see lies. Lies made a person waver a little in his eyes. Dylan Cantrell did not waver. Lawyers, of course, lied for a living. They were notoriously harder to read than most. Were their cockeyes watching? Maybe, maybe not. But the counter threat was clear. If any violence occurred, someone would know. That someone, in particular, being Lincoln Franks. In a straight-up fight, Icepick could take Franks. But Franks The man in gray was a sneaky fucker. That Rixator cloak of his. Dude was a ghost when he wanted to be. Moved like a shadow, struck like a jerboa. If Icepick gave Cantrell some enhanced motivation, he might go to sleep one night and wake up to find Bastard Maker doing a home invasion on his skull. Best to keep things to just words. For now. I'm looking for someone, Icepick said. Someone Franks has run afoul of before. Or this someone ran afoul of Franks. Either way. This someone is a goblin from Florida. Russian immigrant. Drug dealer. Goes by the name of Dante Oganov. I need to know if he's in Lumencia. I can't explain this exactly, but something about that contract, about you not paying Franks, it doesn't add up, Dylan. Is there any way your Lagroon contract could involve Oganov? Icepick knew it was a reach. He'd been in the game long enough to... Icepick knew it was a reach, but he had been in the game long enough to listen to his gut. You're looking for a Russian goblin? Cantrell said. Who hired you to find him? A flick of the wrist. The stiletto again spun through Icepick's fingers. Contractee, contractor privilege, Dylan. Contractee, contractor privilege. Have you seen Dante Oganov? Is he in Lumencia? Icepick hoped the abrupt question might rattle the skinny lawyer, but it did not. Wow, I'm a lawyer, not a creeper or private detective, Cantrell said. Which means, if you're looking for help to find your mark, you've come to the wrong place. He stood and walked to the door. Please leave. With that, he opened the door and waited. Brass balls on this guy. Sorry to bother you, Dylan. You know how hunches are, right? Usually bullshit. Icepick gently placed his stiletto on the messy desk. My calling card. If you come across Dante Oganov, just tap it against your palm. It knows how to find me. Cantrell shook his head. I already told you that this office... You won't always be in this office, Icepick said. No one is watched all the time, Dylan. Remember that. Anyway, I've got to go. Good chat. Icepick left the office. The door clicked shut behind him. The cage had been rattled. Icepick would now sit back and see which way the rabbit ran. Herbie loved following running rabbits. He loved it almost as much as he liked salted cod or killing dragons. Yes, hunches were a dime a dozen, and this little visit would piss off the very dangerous Lincoln Franks, but you can't make an omelet without scrambling a few eggs. Icepick would return to Lumencia and keep digging. But first, he'd wait and see where Dylan Cantrell went next. Well, that was fun. All right, baby girl, come on up. You guys don't have to deal with this, but hopefully baby girl won't either, but I got the toots. I've definitely got the toots today. Looks like I had the camera cutting off my whole head on that thing. Not great. It's been a long day of fighting audio goblins from Russia. Immigrants. You know they are. It's immigrant goblins, bro. Immigrant goblins. All right, now we're going to wait for A to come on back. Come on back if you ever want to fight again. Dr. T. Campbell says, good shit. And boom, let's go to chat. Oh, I gotta get rid of that Dread Coast thing. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Boot, doot, doot, loot. Doot, 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 loot. There we go. All right, let's see what everybody say. Steve Rivers says blame Putin. Dr. Campbell says good shit. Daniel Baker says, oh, snap. Cobalt says strange things are afoot at the Circle K. They absolutely are. Recluse Mage says that was unpleasant. Cobalt says badass. I'm really, really enjoying Icepic's turned out to be really, really fun. Very fun. And Rob and I are sort of setting up this mano a mano a mano. No, not a porn. A mano a mano a mano kind of shakedown between Finish the Job Johnson, Lincoln Franks, and Icepick. 3 very emotionally stable people who are pacifists at heart. Nyoka says, you got to protect yourself. Michael Moore, yeah, you missed the story again. That's all right. Pop back in. Nyoka, I'm happy you guys are enjoying the episode. That was very fun. I actually got a little bit of time to work on the voices before the episode. So it was, I enjoy when I get the voices closer to the ballpark of where I think they should be. Sometimes I get caught up in a rush with all the writing and whatnot. Rob Ottos is more of a FTJJ fan. I did not get FTJJ's signature line in. Surprise, motherfucker. Which, of course, he is based on Dokes from Dexter. Hey, Pumpkin. Oh, my goodness. Look at you.
Oh, well, you better be careful. I'll be right back.
Okay. She gonna be right back. So this is our first live stream with a new piece of gear. So bear with us if there are any additional problems, and we'll get stuff. We'll get stuff. That did not sound good, did it? D79. Cobalt cannot wait to see Link smash. D79 says the good, the bad, and the ugly stand up. That is an excellent, excellent idea. Rob, jot that down. We're not gonna. We might not do that, but showing that could be a very, very cool thing. Let's go to main, ACAM.
Can I have a mouse pad, please?
Yeah, babe. This right here?
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, everybody. Look who is here. Yay!
What a day today. What's that?
Crap. You were unmuted the whole time. Son of a bitch. That's why it sounded odd. What are you going to do? Can't win them all.
Here's your updated script.
Thanks, babe. Okay.
Short. Hang on.
No, that's not you. We'll adjust the screen. Yep. All right. Speak in the mic a little bit for me so I can make sure it works.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2.
Jesus,
Hello,
that's
friends.
so quiet. How bizarre is that? It literally wasn't like that before.
Michael Moore, nice to see you. Let me put on my headphones so I can hear it.
Am I sure you're not muted? No, you're not muted. Okay, let's go to the API vision here. And just bring up your volume. Bring up your gain a little bit. Boop. Talk for me, babe.
I am talking for you. Yeah, I don't hear
That's
a tone
very
actually.
strange. Super strange. Let's see if these
I can hardly hear myself in my headphones
Working
too.
on it right now. Oh, your headphones. Let's check where your headphones are at.
Okay.
Excuse me. Okay, that should help your headphones. And
that helps a lot.
as we adjust the volume, that
hello,
might
hello,
get very
hello,
loud.
hello,
So watch
hello,
your
hello,
ears.
hello.
Talk.
Hello, 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 hello. That did a lot right there. Whatever you just did really helped. I don't know what that was, but it's nice.
Picking up a lot of noise, but that we're gonna have to live with that. That's all right.
Sorry about that, Steve.
That's a very strange thing. We had to rebuild the whole vocal chain from scratch because we had an Apollo X4. We moved to an X8, and you can't use the same presets with it. So we had to rebuild everything from scratch, and it's going to take a little bit of work. What are you looking at, babe?
I think my headphones are now too loud.
Okay.
And
Unfortunately, we have to adjust it right here.
And the dogs are knocking at the door.
Well, they're going to have to hold on. They're going to be all right.
If
We'll
she
get.
scratches, yeah.
Was this open the whole time?
No.
You just open it just now?
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. This is how the sausage gets made. Well, that's weird.
The sound is weird?
That's way too quiet.
Yeah, hold on, babe. Don't do that yet. Can you just talk into the mic and I'll adjust the headphones once we get you dialed in to
Okie doke. I'm talking into the headphones, into the headphones.
That is very, very weird. Bear with us, guys. Just take a couple of seconds here. Let's bring this output
I'm going to talk
back
about
to
nothing
0
while he works his magic over there.
And then we're going to do this.
I will tell you that today I'm very pleased with myself because for the first time in 2025, I swept and mopped the floors on the same day.
That's helping. Let's try the next
I'm
one.
very excited about that. So it's the little things.
It's the little things. That's why you married a little man.
Hey now.
Hey-o.
If you guys were here last week, I will talk about this while we're not recording, while he's working on audio. I interrupted the cast last week because Scott heard me downstairs talking on the phone, and that turned out to be a neighbor of ours had an accident, and she's doing okay. She's being well taken care of. And sorry about that interruption last week. Are we good to go?
I think we're good to go. Now your sound, guys, talk a little bit. How's A sound, everybody?
Yeah, let me know how.
I think it sounds pretty good. All right, so now, how are you in your ears?
I feel this is fine.
You comfortable?
Yep.
Okay, we'll do the best we can.
And what about that? Do you need to do anything with that?
I don't think so. We'll go back to Maine, see Maine.
Just maybe close over the curtain that's right there.
You can't see it.
I can see it. It's right there.
Oh, you're totally right. How about now?
Now it's perfect.
How about now? All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Let's get into it. We're going to now do deep cuts, and this is a celebratory episode.
Yay!
Yay! We're just going to have some fun with this. Let me get the chat up so you can see it, baby girl. Mm-hmm. We can be interrupted at any time for questions about any damn thing on this. Michael Morse is good on YouTube. Lord of the Rings sounds great. Thank you, guys. That feedback, super helpful. Would you say, babe?
Super helpful.
You're really good looking, by the way.
Thank you so
I'll
much.
tell you what.
You're so happy to be done with work today.
I like podcasting with you, girl. What's up? Hey, girl. You podcast often?
Well, we're going to talk about it now. We're about to get into it.
Oh, Jay Radimus says, hold on. There was a bit that bumped me in the Icepick Cantrell, and Icepick's holding the door, narration Cantrell's feelings about it, or wished he could shut it. Yeah, you know what? There is Jay Radimus is pointing out a little bit of a bump, what I call a speed bump. It's a not really well done bit of text, and I missed it, Rob missed it, A missed it, but I do know the part you're talking about. I'm going to have to go through that. And there was a couple other little things there. It was an unclear antecedent, God damn it. If you're going to use pronouns, a huge part of my style is...
Sex gnomes, totally fine. Unclear antecedents? Not on my watch, bitches. Not on my watch.
Pin the tail on Mjolnir? No problem.
No problem.
But my antecedents will be clear as scripture, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's adjust this camera one more time, baby. Can you sit up where we were going to be?
I'm sitting right here. Hello, friends.
Like looking at you. All right, here we go, ladies. That looks good. All right, right now we're going to get into it. Let me call up the other.
I'm super flush in my cheeks. I have no idea why, probably, although it's because I've been working out hard.
We have been working out super hard, dude. We've been going to the gym like 4 times a week, bro. For real. Bring up A some or turn down Scott. Thank you, Steve.
I don't know. This is not actually blush. This is my.
I don't get it.
Have been red all day.
I'm gonna bring myself down here, but the VU meter, I'm barely touching the yellow, and A's going over. Talk a little bit.
Recluse mage, pin the tail with Mjolnir.
On.
You're absolutely going in the corner.
Yes.
You're going in the corner.
On.
Facing the corner and thinking about what you did.
Nobody shoves ancient Norse hammers up somebody's ass on this show. Steve, does that sound a little bit better to you? Steve is our ears in the sky, so to speak. Says, Scott, I'm blasting. Great. Let me bring myself down. That's what I was trying to figure out. Okay, so now I'm down here. And how about the rest of you? Can you hear A talk a little bit?
I am talking now. I don't know if I sound any louder or quieter.
You sound a lot louder than me.
And you sound a lot quieter than me in my own headphones, too.
Very interesting.
Scott,
but they still say I'm louder.
Change, to be honest. Interesting.
That's crazy.
Oh, biceps. Wait. Oh, I can't. I can't really do biceps.
A's been ripping the curls, bro. She's been ripping curls, man.
Wait. No, I've been working on it, but I'm not very strong.
I will teach you later how to do the fake bicep.
I know how to do that. I was making a joke.
Oh, I got you.
I was making a joke.
So I'm still too loud.
So Steve is saying what you're hearing is not what's being output.
No kidding. Okay, let's go. Hold on. We're gonna get this dog lick. That's gross. That's not a good phrase.
We are for sure not doing that.
So we are, as we see. Okay, I'm talking here. Go ahead, babe.
I'm talking.
Yeah, you're definitely down more. Okay, let's just play with it a little bit.
D79 says the gun show. I will tell you, you guys may or may not.
Oh, you're lying in. See, that doesn't make any sense either. Line in. Okay.
He's going to work on that for a minute.
Scooch back a sec, babe.
Oh, okay. Hang on.
We're going to manage it for you now. My output now should be significantly closer to A's.
All
my
right,
guess.
he is louder, but this is not bad. He may be hearing different mix than us. A has to get close to the mic versus distance for Scott from the mic.
That is a ongoing problem with us due to the nature of our voices. I hit the mic from farther out, and A needs to be close to the mic.
Yeah.
So,
And we also, obviously, we have been doing this a little bit. There's also a tiny bit of a delay, so we should hear it is less. Michael says it's less. But this is the first time that we're both on this mic. You guys match much more now, in my opinion, from
Very
Tyler. Good. Now Scott is lower from Rob.
Scott is lower. I bring it up over here.
Now. Okay.
Bring it up over here.
A little bit.
Okay.
Thank you guys for helping.
How are we doing now? That
for
sounds
me.
all right
You
to
sound you sound good to me.
Okay.
Now.
Do I look good to you though?
You always look good to me.
Girl? Cole says, "Don't make me break out my 2-inch pythons." That is another Sex Gnomes game, and that's a whole different. We're not going to talk about there. Edward, yes, I am. Not only am I naturally louder, I think my friends who are both boisterous in the chat room now will attest. I've been very loud my entire life. Scott is much louder now, and David Lamb says Scott is much quieter now.
Like I said, this is a little bit of a delay here.
Steve, I see what I did. Yeah, A's not in the preamp. Okay, so A's going directly in. We're going to go ahead and move on with the show. We're trying to get this as close as we can. So right now, Brian Lee says, leave it alone, Scott. Yeah, Rob,
good advice, Brian.
Rob, is this a podcast? This has lasted 50 episodes. So we will...
Okay, so now we're hearing Scott sounds like he's across the room.
I'll get up on it. I'll try and get right up on it. We're doing the best we can. We're going to go over the show.
When you guys hear want to respond for this part of what we're saying, we're just going to give it one more minute so that the lag catches up. Say starfish, say starfish so that I know this comment has to do with this level of our voices.
Oh, you mean in the chat room?
Yeah, in the chat room before we start recording.
Preston says A's louder by about 20%.
Say when you're commenting on this combination of our voices before we touch anything else, somebody say starfish. There it is. Steve's saying starfish now. So whatever this is, can we leave it like this, Steve? Definitely move on. Well, that's Cobalt saying that, and I don't know what you just did, but it's hard for me.
We're boring the audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Starfish. Here we go. Thank you, guys.
Here we go. Steve can edit it, so there we go. All right, we're going to get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with us the best you can. We will... Steve, I'm adjusting the actual UA console mix and adjusting things in console, which come before things get sent to OBS. What's up? First of all, ready?
Yeah.
See, now I'm a little... This is crazy. All right, we'll do the best we can, guys.
Tracy Shank said add more scotch as the solution. So I was showing that we were adding more. Thank you, guys.
Okay, guys, here we go. Steve says, when in doubt, throw a compressor and master. That's what we're fucking missing. That's what we're missing from the previous set. We're going to go ahead and go with this anyways. Steve, I'm going to play with it till it falls off while A is doing her thing, and we will see what we can do. But, baby, let's get into it. Ready?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for you.
Did you write the talkie talk for me?
Yeah, but I'm going to do most of it. You're just going to read that first part.
Okay. Well, hold on. I get me recording.
And me recording, please.
Check. Oh, hold on. Okay, and not that. Okay, I'm now testing my volume, and my volume is super thin in the mix. That's really crazy. A-Talk?
I am testing my volume. Look at me.
Dramatically louder. That's crazy. All right, we're going to follow Steve's advice as we get rolling. And here we go. Let's do it.
All right.
Deep Cuts, episode 50? What? We just started live streaming, didn't we?
Oh, no, FDO. We've been at this for 5 years and 2 months and have spawned several properties. Join us right now to celebrate. That didn't make any sense. Hang on.
Just say join, celebrate.
Join us to celebrate the big 5-0 for Deep Cuts right after this short break.
Welcome to Deep Cuts, the bonus episode of the Scott Sigler Slices Fiction Podcast, where a sci-fi author and an audiobook narrator discuss things and stuff in the world of fiction and pop culture. I am Scott Sigler, sci-fi horror author known far and wide as the future Dark Overlord.
And I am A.B. Sigler, audiobook narrator and publisher at Empty Set Entertainment. And on this Deep Cuts, we're celebrating 50 episodes.
Okay. We're still breaking in. I'm still getting that I'm too low and you're too high. Can you talk now?
I can talk now. I don't know what just happened to my headphones, but something you just did made it so that I can hardly
lowered
hear.
you in the master. Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're
That's
gonna
okay.
turn up your headphones. Your channel 2 in the headphones.
Okay, hang on.
So sorry about this, guys. We're doing the best we can. Michael, it's coming through OBS as a single channel, which
there we go.
All the little subtleties we had set up for the previous instance with the previous
nice to see
mixer
you out there.
are kind of gone. So, all right, here we go.
Snapping back in.
Cobalt's enjoying it a lot that we are fucking up left and right. Appreciate that. Okay, here we go. We're back in.
Yep.
And your ABC.
It's right after that. It's this.
Oh, okay. A reminder, this is a bonus episode in the Scott Sigler Slices podcast. Not part of any particular story. You don't have to listen to this to keep up on our current tale, but we think you'll like this peek behind the storyteller curtain, especially because it's episode 50.
Episode 50. So if you have joined the Siglerverse during the last 5 years, or even better, during the last 50 episodes, you may or may not know that we celebrate every win. And 50 episodes of a new podcast that we started in lockdown is absolutely a win. And we celebrate big little wins with bubbles.
Champagne.
So why don't you open this
I'll take
for
care
us?
of that.
Watch out all of our new equipment,
Yeah, no
just in
shit.
case. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what has happened over how this came to be. Very, very, very long story short. Obviously, Scott started podcasting in 2005. Fast forward to March 13th of 2020. We were, in fact, supposed to be hosting a dinner with junkies who were visiting San Diego. And instead, San Diego locked down for the coronavirus lockdowns and pandemic that followed. And I, at the time, was doing logistics for our business, Empty Set, but I was also doing logistics for a couple of other clients. And so I went, yay! So I went from very, very busy with essentially 3 jobs to not at all busy and sitting on my hands and stressed out that the world was going to end. And Scott was like, oh my goodness, time enough to finish my deadlines.
I loved it. I love the lockdown. Not going to lie. A lot of the books you've read have been produced in lockdown.
But that lasted, I think, 4 days before I absolutely lost my mind, because Scott can hyperfocus so much that I was literally alone 20 hours a day, and I thought, I'm not even going to last a month. And we started to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember at the time we had an office downtown in San Diego, and now we do not, but we were driving back and forth to move things that we needed to get work done from the office to here, since we weren't supposed to be traveling and we weren't supposed to be interacting with other people. And it was on a drive home from one of those where he said, maybe we should, if we're kind of going out of our minds, if we're a little stir crazy, maybe we should reach out and see if anybody else is stir crazy. And we drove all the way home, and Scott, who is the marketing person, had a million ideas for what the podcast should be called and what the idea was. And I just kept saying Sigler in Place, Sigler in Place, Sigler. And he was like, no, I know Shelter in Place. That's fun. Let's do Sigler in Place. But that's how the live stream was born. We agreed on Sigler in Place, and he got to pick the first topic, which was how he should shave his facial hair.
That is correct. Actually, the very reason we have this particular Tony Stark-esque. Tony Stark won that. Is that right?
Tony Stark won.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
But hey, here we go. 50 episodes and 5 years of live streaming with you at least once a week. We're going to talk about how often we used to live stream.
We are.
But you're awful lovely to look at while
Might
I'm
be the
streaming.
first smooch on camera for us.
No.
I think so. It may
Crazy.
be. We don't do a lot of that.
No, dude. We've been
Probably
lip locking live on this show for 5 years.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers
Thanks
to all of
you
you
guys, too.
Thank you guys for being here.
So, yes, in the beginning, we started...
That's pretty good. That's not bad. What is this?
La Marca,
Prosecco.
one of the few that you like.
Oh, shit. That's good.
Yeah. So we come home that day and we figure out what it will take to just go live. And at the time, We go live, I think, on Facebook only. And I got to pick the title, which was Sigler in Place. Or I won that discussion, whatever. And Scott got to pick the first topic, which was the face lettuce tournament. Because
So much
the
fun,
guidelines for the FDA were saying two things at the time. One, lockdown would be somewhere between 3 and 5 weeks. And two, they put out guidance on how to correctly wear a face mask if you were going to be around other people and you had facial hair. And Scott was like, I am just absolutely shaving my beard. And then I was like, I don't know that you have to do all that. And that conversation led to the tournament where he did a bracket and arguments were made from everyone on both sides.
It was so much fun.
And as you said, Tony Stark won.
But how often were we streaming back then?
At first, we were doing it 2 times a week. We were doing it on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
And then as things got near the end of the bracket and kind of a little more dire, like we were around, I think, 1 month or maybe a little longer than that. And clearly lockdown wasn't ending after 3 weeks and things like that. We went to a couple of Saturdays for the tournament, and then the big reveal was actually a whole video. And my favorite part of this little behind-the-scenes tour from way back when was he wanted to film him shaving his facial hair into a Tony Stark. We have a little upstairs bathroom next to our bedroom. It's sort of little. So he had, I think, 2 ring lights and 3 cameras and whatever. And I was sort of holding lights and a boom and stuff like that, kind of helping. But I had to stay out of the way. And I was wearing a tank top that said, what was it? Be nice, pet dogs, drink wine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we're right about to start shooting. And he's like, I need that tank top, please. And so you're wearing that tank top. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a tank top guy. Who knows what was going on? Who knows what was going on?
I think it was the pet dogs part or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that's a t-shirt. Regardless, you asked for my t-shirt.
Wait. Tank top is the one with is a white beater? Is it tank top?
Yes.
Okay. What's the one with no strap on top?
Well, that's a tube top or a bandeau.
Okay. I'm not a tube top guy. Tank top guy, working on it, getting back into tank top shape for the summer. It's getting yoked.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
So we did two episodes a week until the first. So we started March 27th of 2020, and we did it twice weekly on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then on the first show in January, which was January 1st of 2021, we switched to a weekly format instead of a Tuesdays and Thursdays. We just did one show on Wednesdays, which is where we find ourselves 5 years later. I went to the Siglerpedia. Our good friend John Vizcar, who runs the Siglerpedia, is actually on vacation. He is not here tonight. He is not. He said a lovely thing, and I thought I would read it because those were the days. He said, for most shows, a custom graphic was made and used to promote the show.
That's right. Yeah.
Largely off camera, each show begins with the Siglers giving each other positive affirmations. Very occasionally, this sweet gesture makes it onto the live show for everyone to enjoy, but it is largely a personal thing. And that is such a sweet thing. But when I was putting together this episode, I read that and I laughed so hard because it is true, and we still do that before every episode.
Yep.
But we started doing that because we were so stressed out about all the things in April of 2020. Yes. And Scott was learning to do all of this live streaming, which 5 years later, I still don't know how to do.
Neither do
and
I.
It was just
obviously, one headphone off, one headphone on, so I can actually hear your voice so quiet in the system. I am figuring this all out. It's a constant learning process. But when we started live streaming, we started doing the positive affirmations because it was so unbelievably frustrating. The learning curve, it seems very simple. You turn on a camera, you go to Facebook Live, you do this thing, everything's going to work out fine. And it was sort of okay. Mm-hmm. But as we started to get more like, well, this doesn't sound good and this doesn't look good. Why would people want to hang out with us for a half an hour if we're doing too hard to hear smudges? So we started learning. And man, you find out super fast when things go wrong when you're live. And I am a temperamental creature. Sometimes I've gotten much better over the years, but I have trouble controlling my anger at technology and shit like that. And I would get super mad. So we started to be like, okay, we are literally doing this.
And I'm a perfect angel.
Yes,
I
you
never
are, sweetheart.
yell.
You are the template of perfection. We had to sit down and be like, we're doing this to be there for the people who have been there for us over the last 15 years. We're trying to be a good, like a lot of people are locked in and can't get out and are home alone. We're going to be there with them every other night. And we really weren't being nice to each other. So
yeah,
like,
we started to be like sort of fussy with each other
Yes.
and competitive about, I'm going to make this the best show from our bedroom.
Yes, literally from a bedroom, having no idea what we were doing. So we added the positive affirmations, which we still do to this day.
We do.
Make sure we're going to say one really nice thing to each other before the show begins. Kind of sands the edge off the rough wood.
Yeah, actually, the note. So if you guys don't know this, I'm sure you do. If you have been with us for 50, but we have a script that guides us through the intros and outros and notes on the topic and stuff like that. And it happens every week. And that used to be for years until the beginning of this year when the format changed a little bit more, was up at the top was when we go live, we go high. And right before when we go live, we go high, was positive affirmations, saying to say something wonderful about your favorite human or whatever it was. Because also back then we were kind of swiping at each other to go live, but things were quite heavy at the time.
Yeah. And it was the overall general not just the show. She was stressful.
I mean, mostly everywhere else, right?
Yeah.
So the next line under that was when we go live, we go high. We are celebrating the wins. We are out there making a community out of what we don't have. And what we don't have is the ability to go outside. So we're going to start there. And for between January of 2021 and well into 2023, we did there were a handful of recurring bits that happened all the time. One of them was pup dates every week. Anything weird. If you were out like picking up groceries or whatever, and you saw something that you just wanted to share, made you smile, made you think, something like that, you could send that in. One of my favorites, a junkie named Courtney, sent in a photo. She was driving somewhere to pick up groceries or something, and somebody had essentially decorated a stop sign that was on an island in the middle of the street with like ribbons and bells and something just to make you smile, because that was the only communication that person, whoever stopped at that stoplight and did that, put a little sign there saying, thinking, hope you guys are doing okay. And it just grew over time. So little things like that we would share. We'd celebrate birthdays or any celebrations that people wanted to send in. Siglabrations, we called them. For a while, I made a specific drink that was in the summer of 2020 when there was nowhere to go and nothing to do, and most people had like one bottle of liquor at home. I was like, yeah, let's make all these complicated weird drinks every week.
I forgot about the drinks. A drink every week. Yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah. But, back in the day, what we were trying to do is say, like, it's time for us to show up for the people, like Scott said, who have shown up for us over and over and over again in our very small businesses, very long life. And we were doing anything we could do. In the very beginning, the first handful of shows, we wore costumes. It was crazy. So there is a question. There is a question in the chat room we have time to answer before we take a quick break, and that is from Michael Moore in the YouTube chat room. He says, how much prep time goes into each show? I will say right now at episode 50, for me, I'm going to talk about me.
Okay.
And then Scott can talk about him. But at episode 50, it takes me less than about a half an hour to flesh out the script, which I just showed you. And that's the stuff that we kind of talk about each time so that we have handy notes. And then since I often lead the deep cuts discussion, I do the research. And I do, I'd say it depends on the topic, but somewhere between 3 and 5 hours of research because, I want to be thoughtful and accurate, especially in a time where people are, not researching as much as they're Googling. So even though these are topics, we almost always talk about things that we live through as small publishers or a small business. I try to do some legwork to make sure that I'm not just spouting off the ChatGPT summary at the top of a Google search.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the prep time has gone through a couple of iterations. When we started out, prep time was hours. Like initially, it's like turn on the camera, go live. This is going to be easy. Everybody's doing it. 12-year-olds do this. No problem. Come to find out, if you actually want to have a show that's worth people spending their time to hang out with you, that requires some time. So the prep time back in the day was, I'm not going to lie, it's like some 5-6 hours sometimes. Getting content ready, reviewing the content, getting the assets up, images, all of that shit took a long time. And then I got better at it. That started to drop down. Then we introduced Story Smack and we introduced like pup dates and all these other things. And then it cycled back up and I get better at it. And it cycled back down. And now we've got it to the point we've actually ended shows and ended bits because they take so much time that it's taking a whole day away from writing every week. And we can't have that. That's part of the reason we're behind in so many books. This live stream is a big part of the reason we're behind on so many books. It takes at least one full day a week away from writing content and preparing the show. And frankly, it's usually more like a day and a half, 2 days a week are sleigh and prepping for this show.
So we are going to take a quick break. If you have a moment, please listen to the ads that run. It really helps the show, and we'll be back right after this.
Okay, set that 20-minute timer, because now we're getting a drink on. Who knows what's going to happen? Things going to get weird up here in La Jolla.
Okay.
All right. I'm just happy we've done this fucking day of work, you guys. And like after all the shit I've been working on this audio all weekend to get it to work. And then yesterday, and then today, and now we've got the fucking shit show at the different levels. Because we had no idea this is what you hear isn't what we hear. You know what I'm saying?
Why don't we click back in?
Why don't we go back in? Ready? Wait. We gotta find. Oh, it's the other page? Nope. Got it. Ready?
Yeah.
Welcome back to Deep Cuts.
This episode, we're celebrating 50 episodes of Deep Cuts. So,
woo-hoo, having some champagne. Woo! She took the champagne bottle away from me before I started chugging from the bottle. Titanic style. What's up?
So right before the break, you brought up an interesting point, which is sometimes it takes up to 2 days. And I want to use that as a jumping off point to talk about some of the things that we have learned and some of the really genuinely huge benefits that we've received or had because we chose to do this live stream. So back in the day, as I said, we were just like, well, I mean, if we're lonely, y'all are lonely. Let's get out there and do something. And it was absolutely the Wild West and ludicrous. We did costumes. We took commercial breaks, all sorts of things. And then we came back in totally different bits. But it has grown into this. And one of the reasons it has changed, as Scott mentioned before the break, is some of the bits that we were doing just took so much time away from putting out books that we got way behind with the Crypt series and the GFL, and it was literally saying, which thing do we do? So we kind of regrouped and we backed up and we streamlined a little bit, and now, unless there are technical issues, which has been happening, it takes me about an hour. It takes Scott the writing time, but this is a benefit. So one of the big benefits of doing this and changing over time is that now we're a cast that creates a book as we go, which is why you guys just recently got a Slay Book 1, and this year you'll get Slay Book 2. That's because this podcast pushes that story forward. That's because this cast pushes that story forward. Yeah. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons that GFL 7, which Scott is about to start working on the final edit of, one of the reasons is that weird things happened, and the pandemic happened, then the lockdown happened, and Slay became a way for us to keep the live stream going, which then became a profit center because we could create and put that book out, which then gives us more room in our budget to do the live stream. So it's a cyclical, wonderful thing for us. That's one of the things that the live stream has done for us.
Yeah, the live stream, and I'm very happy with where the live stream is now. And it took us a long time to get here because we just initially, again, we did it like the fucking junkies are hurting, man. They're home and they're struggling and nobody knows what's going on. It's all very confusing and very frightening. and there are some people who don't have well-developed social networks and they don't live near their families, etc. We're going to be there for them. That went good. And then we started live streaming. We're like, maybe we'll become live streamers a little bit. And we tried really hard at it, and we introduced different shows. And eventually all of these things worked to the point where we're like, we're fucking out of monthly content for fiction. We podcast everything. And now I've got multiple contracts where I can't podcast the fiction I write, which I've done for 20 years.
Yeah, that was another big motivator for changing the podcast.
Like Aliens Phalanx, Crypt Book 1, the one that came out, and a couple other ones. Warpath won't be able to podcast. So we started to be like, we're in reruns, man. We've had the show on for 15 years. And we are rerunning some old stories, which are very fun. And, you guys like the reruns, but God, we missed having that biting, cutting edge. You guys are holding, it's almost like you were waiting to pee. You just can't wait so bad for Sig to drop some new shit. We're like, we want to get back to that. Where the only place you can get the story is in the podcast every Sunday. And then eventually those two things came together like peanut butter and chocolate. Mm-hmm. And now we're at a point where if you are a diehard fan and your schedule permits, you can watch the first instance of this fiction being birthed into the world live, right out of my maw. And then we turn that into the podcast. So we're very, very happy with where things are now. But it took a very long time to get here.
For sure. And I do want to say that what Scott said is totally true. When we first started this, we were like, well, we need connection. You guys might need connection. Let's see what we see. And in the last 5 years, there have been iterations. There was Story Smack. There's all sorts of different versions. There was a video Sig Locktail tutorial for a while. Mm-hmm. All of that just trying to make connections and stuff like that. But where it has come now is 5 years later, we have a valid, useful, I'll say business reason to do this, which is important for a business. But we also have had a goodly number of emails and folks who join the chat room, and show up as if they're walking through the door at their grandma's house and say, like, I've had a week, you guys. Like, I need a little bit of love.
That's true.
We've had emails. I'm not going to talk any specifics in case any of you listening have sent a similar email, but we've had emails that say, you're the only people who answer me. Not recently, now that the world has opened up, but during the pandemic, we had several folks say the only time I ask a question and somebody answers me these days is you or customer service when I'm ordering food or whatever. And so there's a lot of good reasons, I think, that the people who still stay with us at 50 episodes routinely and weekly stay with us. But there's really good reasons that we stay with you, too. And that's just some of them.
Nyoka in the chat room says, we family. We may be crazy, but we family.
Exactly.
That's a fact. That's why we started this. We started the stream 5 years, the live streaming 5 years ago, because we wanted to be there for people who were there for us. And then we enjoyed the process. And for a while, we got to do a weekly movie review with Rob Otto, which was a fucking delight. An enormous amount of work. Story Smack was a huge amount of work.
Yeah.
And eventually, we got to the point where we realized live streaming is its own entertainment art form. The people who do extremely well at live streaming and get audiences in the hundreds of thousands, they work their asses off on this stuff. A lot of them are very polished and come across like, oh, I just turned on the camera and nothing happened. And yes, there are some very attractive human beings who can do that. But most of the people who are drawing a big audience and putting out content weekly or even daily, that is their full-time job. And they are working 80 hours a week on that stuff.
Yeah.
So at some point we realized, like, you know what? We are sort of novelists who live stream and hang out with their fans. We are not live streamers. But eventually we got to the point we're at now, which has been surprisingly beneficial to us. You know, little things like putting out an episode live stream every week for the people we advertise for. Our SEO rankings to get us up in the Google ranks benefits the advertisers, benefits us. A lot of things that come out, and now we're 2 books in, over halfway through the 3rd book, that I get to write with one of my best pals of all time, Rob Otto.
This was going to be one of my takeaways. One of the best things for me is this moment. I want you to talk about it. It's one of my favorite takeaways of having done this live stream, and specifically having broken out deep cuts to be kind of talking about writing and then letting the story stand alone, is the episode of Deep Cuts that Rob and Scott did last July together, because that you talk about this piece so often that you get to, and I want you to say it instead of me, that I want you to say that because it's one of my favorite things about the live stream, and certainly one of my favorite things about Slay.
Which
is that you get to do this.
I get to now create something with one of my childhood friends, one of the best human beings that I know, and just a fucking great guy who's just absolutely a great barometer for what makes a well-told, honest, logical, linear story. Rob will watch anything and find something to enjoy. He will read any comic book, find something to enjoy. He is a connoisseur of the little bits in the buffet that make everything great. But he's also, that processing ability goes into him being more of a chef to be like, okay, this is delicious, this is delicious, this is delicious. But if you really want to make a plate that makes someone jizz in their pants a little, here's what you want to serve up. And Rob and I have always been very like-minded about story, about character, about through line, and getting to actually write this with Rob and getting to put out a book with my name and Rob's name on it is absolutely one of the best moments of my entire career. And we've already done it twice, and we're going to get to do it 3 more times, and it's great. And you guys who are enjoying Slay, there's a reason Slay is definitely quintessential FDO. That is there. It is all over the page. That is very much Scott Sigler, but it's a little bit different this time out because Rob's kind of there. Rob's like the bouncer at the door. Rob bouncer at the door.
It's a great way to say that.
He doesn't. Yeah, it's like, no, you don't get in. You in a little black dress. Yeah, come on in. Let's go. That's Rob.
And one of the things that Rob bounces in this scenario is Scott often has a great idea that leads to another great idea that leads to another great idea that he's like, I can shove all of that into this chapter. And Rob will frequently be like, yeah, that was hysterical. We don't have room for that. Or that was hysterical. Not for this. And that's it, because they have known each other so long and their shorthand is so concise that Rob can be like, yeah, that's funny. Not now. Not for this. But what's going on?
It's just Rob in the chat room. It's like, no, you're not on the list. Sorry. It's so good. And Steve Rickenberg in the chat room says, Rob is the adult in the room. No, he's not, bro. There is no adult. The adult in the room is sitting right here. Allegedly.
Then Steve answered himself, allegedly.
There's one adult in the room, and she's sitting next to me. And the beauty to me of what Rob and I are doing, where we really know shit's really fucking cooking, is not like her career is not as a proofreader or an editor, but her job in house with the story is to go through and be like, okay, this part, I don't know why Magda would do this. This doesn't make any sense. And to catch typos, repeated words, things like that, she misses them all the time now. Like when I'm reading, I'm like, fuck, babe, how could you not see this? Because she's so caught up in the story that she's missing all of the shit she's supposed to be fucking correcting. And that is a source of joy for me, and hopefully Rob enjoys as well. The short answer, there's one adult in the room. His name is Bingles.
Unfortunately true.
And he wears pleather pants with suspenders and a belt that says Big Papi across the bottom. That's what it is. So anyways, all what we're saying is, all of the live streaming, we initially started as a selfless thing. And then we're like, well, let's see if we can keep doing this. And like, well, let's see if we get better at it and this catches on. And then we're like, you know what? This is not going to catch on, but we want to do this. Eventually got to the point of like, hey, what if we live read an original story each week? And that, my friends, has become Slay, which I am very proud of. And I think is one of the best things I have ever done. And I'm delighted I get to do it. So thank you all. If you're watching tonight or if you've ever watched, It's been great. And if you're listening to this on the podcast and you haven't listened to Slay, brothers and sisters, you guys are missing out. Slay by Scott Sigler and Rob Otto. And we do these live streams every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. You can join us live at twitch.tv/Scott Sigler, youtube.com/Scott Sigler, or facebook.com/Scott Sigler. Get in the chat room, be a junkie, hang out.
So, we are going to wrap things up, but I do kind of have a way to wrap this all up together. When we are celebrating 50 episodes of Deep Cuts because in May of 2024, we finally sat down and solidified that we wanted to talk, the two of us have a targeted conversation about being a small business or small publisher or something that's relevant to our tiny lives, and put that out as a podcast because we kept getting people asking about the conversations at the end of the story. So in May of 2024, it became Scott Sigler Slices and Deep Cuts as two unique podcasts. Scott stole my thunder. My favorite episode of Deep Cuts so far is the one that Rob and Scott hosted last July because it was so much fun to watch them be just together. It was super fun. Another one of my favorites.
We're charming. Rob and I are very charming.
You're
it's true.
Effing charming. Another one of my favorites. We had been evacuated in 2025, in early 2025, because there's a wildfire that impacted our house, and we put together a couple of emergency preparedness info for the Deep Cuts. Yeah. And we got an email from somebody who ended up buying a fire blanket because we talked about it and using it in a kitchen fire literally.
Oh my gosh, how
week.
cool is that?
Yeah. And cool. They had seen it. Now, my favorite part of that is they were like, I saw this a lot on the TikTok shop, but I didn't think it would work. But then I was like, oh, we have these. And I think I might have gotten it from the TikTok shop, but it stopped a house fire. Well,
we have saved lives.
A pot
yet
fire,
again.
a little pan fire, maybe.
A
Anyway.
napalm dispersion within the kitchen implemented by terrorists, and it was foiled because of us.
And then the standout episode for me was when you had to talk about writing characters who are evil or do distasteful things.
Yeah.
That is an interesting delineation, especially with the FDO's internet persona marketing, all that, all the gestalts.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a really interesting episode. And I know this is putting you on the spot, but I think you already told me. But what are your favorite recollections of the Deep Cuts?
Episode with Rob was really good. I really enjoyed the episode on people want to get rid of copyright. We just did was the episode before this one, because the tech bros and the oligarchs continue to move us into areas in our culture that are just ludicrous. If you were to go back just 5 years and say, hey, all of these people with all this money are going to do all of these things and take all this power, you'd have been like, oh God, Scott, you're so silly. That'll never happen, bro.
How dare.
You're being, you know what? You're just a delicate flower. Trust me, the system will take care of us. And maybe not quite those words, but now we see we are all sheep led to slaughter. So that's been a very fun episode for me, which I think hopefully leads into more. The future of Deep Cuts is probably going to be a bit more controversial topics. It's going to be a bit more, being the shield wall against the predators who want to fleece the creators, the people who want to remove the power of creation from those who create our entertainment culture. And of course, we all know entertainment bleeds down into so many different levels, all levels of entertainment, not just fiction, fashion, music, journalism, all of these things that shape what our Western culture is. And now all of these fucking vampires want to show up and steal it all. So we're very excited. Hopefully the next 50 episodes of Deep Cuts, a little bit more biting, a little bit more, hey, this is going on, we're going to talk about it.
Yep.
And why A&I's business is not generating or being part of controversy. There are controversial things coming up that we hopefully can engage all of y'all in conversation.
I do know that your all-time favorite episodes are the celebratory look back kind of things, like when we do our New Year's episode or when we're just hanging out. We hung out on Christmas, I think Christmas Day or the day before or something. And I know you love those because they're laid back and fun. But I think that we are going to be moving into things that are just the evolution of kind of being a teeny tiny business, trying to navigate the next handful of years. We'll do that with you as ever.
Yep.
So I wanted to end by saying, I don't think that, me personally, I don't think I would have gotten through the pandemic nearly as well as I did. And I don't even think I got through it all that well without having had this to look forward to every week.
It was a lighthouse that reminded us that while we were in dangerous, troubled waters and boulders were all over the place, there was a broader set of connections with people who are very much like us, like-minded with us, and that even when they have completely different opinions and takes than we do, we know they are good people at heart, and we know that any chance we get, we would love to go to the bar, sit down, have some beers, and just talk about shit. That is what this live stream has been to me. It has been a fucking delight to get to hang out with you guys every week. While it is a lot of work and it is frustrating, infinitely frustrating at times, just getting to know, like, man, it's Wednesday. We're going to go hang out with our pals for a little while. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a couple of drinks. This is going to be fucking great. I can't wait to see these names pop up on the list. It's really important to us.
And starting Wednesday evening with you guys somehow unlock something in Scott that he actually will. After this, we have a little post-production that we always have to do to get all this moving down the road. And then he actually does take Wednesday evenings off, which isn't always the case. So I want to close out by saying, at the beginning of this researcher preparedness for this episode, I put together from Big John's Cyclopedia entry. Deep Cuts is mostly centered on being a small business or hybrid novelist, because he's a Big Five publisher, an indie publisher, and a podcaster, and how we interact with the world and vice versa. Scott just talked about some of the ways that we will be changing moving forward. Some of the things that will stay the same is we continue to hope to interview other authors or podcasters or people who are significantly interesting in our lives that we want to share with you. Like Scott interviewed the Horror Writer Association's president, because he's such a fascinating guy. The one thing I wish that we still did, that we did with when it was Sigler in place, that has gone away from both pieces of the current podcast, is we used to end every episode with an entreaty to stay smart, stay science, and for the love of God, stay informed.
Stay informed.
And I think I would like to do that. I would like to continue to do Deep Cuts with you guys, and I hope you guys will join us for the ride.
I just went to say some deep, meaningful shit, you guys. Really get in touch with my inner soul, and my throat went, nope. Nope. Stay safe, stay science, stay informed, which gets harder and harder to do with the advance of technology and, frankly, evil people. But do the best you can, and staying informed now takes much more work than it used to take. It takes critical thinking. It takes checking your emotions a little bit. It takes cooling your jets and really looking around, and hopefully we can be a part of that. Darling, my love, my wife, my spouse. Oh, I'm out of champagne. Let's try that again. Darling, my love, my wife, my spouse, here's to you for 50 episodes of this and 5 years of live streaming and many different shows. Here is to Rob Otto, my co-writer in Slay, and here is to all of you, the junkies. You're fantastic. We are so grateful to get to hang out with you every Wednesday, and we wish you nothing but the best.
As Robert Brisson says, you have become extended family for a lot of people. Thanks so much. Thanks to you guys. Same to you guys. That is it for this episode of Deep Cuts. We will see you next week to talk about how creatives, including Scott, decompress.
Creatives decompress?
and relax.
That's going to be a bunch of fiction bitches because I never fucking relax ever.
And we need to kiss off into the sky,
oh,
my
yes.
friend.
You all smell an awful like flowers. Oh, let's switch cameras. Go to the money cam. What's up? Wait, let me give him the money look. Ready? You all smell awful like... Shit, fuck it. Fuck off. We're going to go. Goodbye.
Y'all all smell an awful lot like flowers.
Goodbye. No, we don't. Yeah. Stop streaming? No. We just turn this off. We do this.
And probably switch back to the
No. That's not right.
Hang tight,
I
guys.
don't know how to end this goddamn show now, come to think of it. Oh, we just end it. And we keep... No. We don't do that. Like, goodbye. And Steve fixes that part.
Yes, you have to turn off the logic if you haven't yet.
Oh, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. And switch the cameras back over here.
And I'm sorry. You want your money cam now?
I mean, he's
What's
working.
the matter? My money cam? I've been going to the gym, dog. I've been on a treadmill. I've been on the e-gym. I've been doing curls.
Do you
and
know?
Shit.
All right. You do whatever you need to do. Or are you done? You're done.
Oh, we're done.
Okay.
We're done.
So
now
you know what?
We're just goofing with you guys. Nobody's going to hear this. But
So you know
guys.
what? Scott and I go to the gym. We meet my BFF Maria there. Maria is the whole reason that we go to the gym, because she was just like, yeah, I'm going to go to the gym. You should come. There's a pool. We could hot tub. It'd be great. So there is. We hot tub.
There's only pain in the weight room. Okay.
But so I start going with Maria in January, and Scott is like, are you leaving the house? And I just have to go? I don't have to remember to go. I just have to go. So he goes. And then now we're all going, and we all have different goals, and that's fine. But we all have this. It's like we meet each other. We keep each other accountable. I don't know about you guys, but I don't have a lot of gym going experience. And we do 2 days a week we do cardio, 2 days a week we do weight training, and every day that we go to the gym, we do like a stretching. And in the stretching room, there is an isometric stupid machine. And I don't know what it's called, but Scott somehow...
The leg lift. You got it. You're like this, and your legs go boop.
You're
boop,
like you're holding on for
boop,
your life,
boop, boop.
dangling. Who dangles as an adult? Why do you dangle as an adult? Nobody dangles as an adult. You dangle as an infant. You don't dangle as an adult. But I'm there, and I'm dangling, and it sucks. And then he's like, come on. You can do it. Come on, boys. Come on. Let's go, boys. Let's go, boys. And I am like, I can hardly move. And then I start laughing. And then not only am I like dangling, I'm also slipping down into the dangle.
She's got very small shoulder span. She's like sliding down into the thing. And there's a whole lot of there's some phrases I'm pretty sure A and Maria have never been on the receiving end of before. Number one is, let's go, boys. Number two, let's go. Get them gains. Let's go. And then also the subtle one, like, get it. Mm-hmm. When the legs come up, get it. And they have, they are, all, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say this and be done. A couple of fucking gangsters in the making. A couple of infantile gangsters going to grow up to be fucking big boy gangsters. They're fucking solid, dog.
1 minute. 1 second here. So we do that stupid death machine. And then he shows us how to do it. And he's like, lift your legs up, and then like you lift to the, and he holds his hand up so that we can hit his hand with our shoe, and then we slowly go down so we're getting the negatives too.
Negatives are gold.
And then this mofo, after a week of us struggling on that machine, getting 5 and going like up a foot, like I do this, like if this is my, I'm like it's tiny. A whole week goes by where he's coaching us and everything's great. Just one more. Exactly. You got this. One more. You can do one more. Then he does it. And I swear, he's like this, and then one leg goes all the way up above his head.
That's both legs, dog. Not one
both
leg.
legs above his above his head. I am so incensed. I can't even tell you. Ooh. And somebody, Cobalt, you said it, and it's totally true. Today, Maria and I have been discussing offline. The thing that makes me the maddest is I actually feel better, and it's doing its job.
It's really good.
I'm mad about it
It's
because
all of us.
I want to never work out again,
All
but
three
that
of
is
us
not
are
going to
having
happen.
far, like, there's a lot of ooching when we wake up because we're old, but it's less ooching than it was before. And you know what? In a way, in a weird way, that oochiness was sort of a comforting, it was a security blanket. It was a life preserver. You're like, you know what? We're getting old. We realize mortality is more of a thing now. We've got friends dropping off here and there, and our parents are all fucking dropping like fucking flies. So we wake up, we're like, oh, my back hurts, my legs hurts, everything. I'm just going to have to like, and now we're getting out of bed, like I wouldn't say springing out of bed.
No.
It's not Charlie in the Chocolate Factory grandpa, like, doo-doo-doo, going to the chocolate factory. But it's a lot, it's like we're popping up and things don't feel quite as bad because we're stretched, we're limber, and we're grabbing that strength.
Yep.
We're getting the reps in. You know what I'm saying? Feel the burn.
And
Get it.
okay.
Get it.
I think it's time for us to go. Scott's now 2 scotches in. So.
Oh, yeah. 2 scotches, a glass of champagne. As Paul Carlson says, all those years as a ballerina are paying off. A and I both. You can see we're both ballerina bound. All right. Fuck off, all of you. You're fantastic. We will see you next week. We'll talk about how I goof off. And